Erin Sweatman, welcome to the Entrepreneur Studio, VP of Marketing at Amex. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. Really good to have you. Well, Erin, this year marks the 15th Small Business Saturday, and I'd really like to know how this initiative really began and what was the spark that it inspired American Express to launch this back in 2010.
Absolutely. So American Express has a long history of backing small businesses. And when we thought about Small Business Saturday, it really came on the heels of the financial crisis. So in 2010, we heard from our small business customers that they needed support. They needed customers coming in their doors. They needed their cash registers ringing, particularly in the holiday season, right? It's so critical, so make or break for small businesses. And so our team sort of looked at the landscape and said, all right, there isn't a moment that's dedicated to small businesses. And how can we find that way in, right? And so Small Business Saturday was born. It is the Saturday after Thanksgiving. It's a great way to sort of work off your turkey, right? And it's really meant to be a day of celebration for small businesses. So it's a way to celebrate our small business owners. It's a way to activate and get shoppers out to support them. And it's a way to really celebrate our communities and think about how we can come together and really think about what that feels like, right? And as we now look back after, 15, we're about to hit the 15th Small Business Saturday, this November 30th. So put it on your calendar. I'll say that date a few times. The brief route was, right, can we get shoppers in the door? Can we drive spend? And last year in 2023, we saw that there was $17 billion worth of spend or sales at small businesses on Small Business Saturday.
That's amazing.
So as we think about the job and what we were trying to do, we feel really good about the way that we've been able to start this and support and put a spotlight on small businesses with Small Business Saturday and today the broader Shop Small movement.
Yeah, and it is a movement. And it's one that I think just reflecting back as to why we decided to do the Entrepreneur Studio, right? We were like, man, this crew definitely gets it in the way that we're trying to, be a better member of the small business community. And that's why the Entrepreneur Studio exists. I think we have our reasons as to why we sort of picked small businesses, but like what really was sort of the impetus to say, it's small businesses that we're gonna support and that we're gonna, because there's a whole host of other consumer type things that, Amex could have chosen, but small businesses was one of the big ones. So what really made the small business community become the target of what we're going to help?
Yeah. I think small businesses are at the core. And I think what Shop Small has done and what Shop Small does for us is it's a way to really connect across, right? So if we think about the way Shop Small has come into being and the way we use Small Business Saturday, it's not just a message for our small businesses, right? Our small business customers certainly appreciate that message and they appreciate that backing. But our card members also engage, right? And so it's a big thing that we talk to our customers about as well. So I think, as a marketer, you think about those moments, how you can connect with multiple places, right? And Shop Small is one of those things that it's a big idea that has space to connect to customers, to connect to small business owners. And it feels true. It feels good, right? It really has tapped into that central idea. And again, we do have a long history of backing small businesses. I think this is sort of a big thing for us. They are a core part of our customer base. We often think about our card business, and that's incredibly important. But small businesses are a critical part of our customer base as well. So it's one that we really wanted to shine a spotlight on.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you sort of get ready for, Small Business Saturday at Amex?
Yes, I love this question. So I think as we think about getting ready, there's sort of three things, right? And it's really all about how we can support the small businesses so they can make the most of the day. That's really at our core. So first, there's a number of things that we have ready for small businesses to do and get ready and take advantage. I'm going to throw out a website. It's americanexpress.com/shopsmall. It is the home for all things Shop Small. So the first bucket of things are are two sort of core pieces that are all about making sure you're ready on the day, let customers know. So we have some great social posts that are ready to use, super easy for a small business to download, post, and let their customers know, I'm a place where you can shop small, please support me. We also have, this is a perennial favorite, fun fact, this was my first job at American Express, was making all this great signage. Ooh, it stuck to the table. But we have lots of great signage that small businesses can come and grab that make sure that everybody knows that you are a small business and a place to show up. So those are two things you can go grab, easy, done, right? We also have a ton of great content on the site that merchants can use or small businesses can use, both to help get ready for Small Business Saturday, but all year long to really help as they think about what's next for their business. So we have great actionable content. Think about, things to make sure that you're getting involved in your community and maximizing community engagement to grow your business, or making sure you really know where you're going next. How do you craft your purpose and think about, what am I doing here, right? And what do I want to be and how do I want to show up? And then we pair a lot of that content with valuable offers. So we have, for example, we have some great content around hiring. We know that it's like a perennial challenge for everyone, but frankly, particularly for small businesses. So there's great content on that. And we marry that with offers to actually be able to go act on that insight, right? Wow. So we have a great offer from Indeed, or we have ones from FedEx to help get stuff out the door, or lots of other great opportunities there as well. And then lastly on the site, you'll find there's lots of stuff. The last thing I'll talk about today, because I could talk about this for quite some time. It's what my team spends a lot of their time thinking about and making sure we have ready. The last thing I'll hit on is that we're also launching a whole suite of stories from small business owners for small business owners. So we know how powerful it is to learn from each other, right? And really put a spotlight on those messages and see how can small business owners get excited and inspired from others like them. So that's sort of what sits on americanexpress.com/shopsmall. And those are all tools for small businesses to go take advantage. The other thing, and this is sort of where we as marketers come in, is what can we do to support small businesses, and how can we use our marketing channels to get the word out for small businesses, because we know they're busy. So there's really two things that we're working on right there. So first is making sure that when you turn on your TV, you see a message around Shop Small as we get into the holiday season, that when you're on your phone scrolling, right, it's there, right? So how do we make sure that we are highlighting Shop Small and getting the word out to shoppers across the country? In addition, we use our actual communications to card members to connect card members with small businesses nearby. And that's our recommendations program. So it's all about making sure that we put a very specific and recommended small business in front of you that we think that you would really like. And just to put some scale on that, last year we recommended 8 million small businesses to our card members. Wow. So it's a really powerful way for us to be able to put our power behind small businesses in a way that a small business doesn't have to do a thing. It's free advertising that we take care of, and really making sure that we support small businesses in that way. So our job is to make sure small businesses have everything ready for them to go take advantage of, but also to try to do some of the heavy lifting on our side as well to support and get the word out.
That's such good stuff. I think with all of that activity, right? Yeah. What's something that maybe is sort of behind the glass or behind the scenes that nobody knows that you're like really passionate about?
Oh, I think one of the things that I have a lot of excitement about is like when we can uncover the thing that's hard and we can start to put the pieces together for a small business. So let's think about like all things digital and social media, right? If we think about when small business started in 2010, I don't know that I had a smartphone, right? The world was just so very different. And if we think about how things have evolved over the past few years, the pace of change is just astounding, right? In terms of marketing. I'm a marketer, you're a marketer. I find it hard to keep up with what do we need to be doing? Where do we need to be? And so as a small business owner, that's really challenging. And I think we hear constantly from small business owners, like, I know I need to be doing something there, but I don't know what. And so we've gone out and done some work to understand how does social play in? What do we need to do, right? And so we started by talking to shoppers. And so the stat is that 73% of Gen Zers are more likely to make a purchase at a small business when they've seen it on their social media feed. 73%. So it just really underscores the importance of having that social presence. And so that's a stat that says, okay, I probably should be there, right? And how do I show up? And so then it's how do we take that information, make sure it's easy for a small business to understand, but then easy to act on, right? So we've sort of bundled that insight and that need to be there with, again, a few quick tips on how to make sure you process your how do you manage your social? It doesn't need to be all the things, but how do you just find those simple habits and make it a part of your day? we have those assets where they can download and quickly post. We know that crafting the perfect post feels hard, right? So how can we help them with those that are ready to go? And then we have offers from some great places like Constant Contact or web.com to make sure that a business can really quickly get their social up, get their communications out, and like be ready to go, right? So it's sort of finding those pieces that this is an opportunity. How can we demystify it for a small business and make it feel a little bit easier to go tackle that problem when we know that their list of to-dos is a long one?
What would you say is next, right? This is number 15. What would you say is next for the Shop Small movement?
Yeah. Shop Small is something that is, its beauty is that it has changed so much over the years, right? So it started as something that was based in the US. It was really for retailers, really for main streets. And over the past, 15 Small Business Saturdays, it's evolved. It is now global. We celebrate everywhere from the US to Australia. And we've really worked to make the umbrella broader. So now how do we support online businesses? How do we support services, B2B businesses? And I think what is at the core of it and what's made it last for so many years is that the evolution is less about sort of what we want and more about what our small businesses are telling us they need. Mm-hmm. So, as we said, it started with making sure I get someone in my door. In 2020, it really became like, how do I let my customers know how to even shop with me, right, during that period? And as we move forward, I think what we really hear from our small businesses is, and it kind of connects to that idea of change happening so quickly. What we really hear is how do you help me think about what's next? And how do I really future-proof my business? So we're continually making sure that we listen to small businesses and make sure that everything we do is fully linked to what they need. Mm-hmm. And I think then on top of that, it's really just how do we sort of help keeping them with really simple, really easy ways to go, get them to the next piece and be able to sort of solve where they're going next.
Yeah, I love it. Well, Erin, what advice would you have for making the most, like if you're talking, actually, let me ask it this way. If you're talking to a merchant, what do you think the piece of advice that you'd give them to make the most of the resources and assets that Amex is making available?
Yeah. I think first and foremost, mark your calendar, November 30th. That's the day. And then I think the next piece is go and just spend a few minutes at americanexpress.com/shopsmall. I think it's order that signage, make sure that it's up, make sure customers know that they can shop with you. And then I think it's taking advantage of some of those marketing pieces, right? Download those assets, let your customers know that you're a place to come and shop small. Let them know how important it is to you, right? And then I think it's also spend a few minutes and get inspired, have fun, get excited. This moment isn't just, it's meant to be a celebration of small businesses. So there is all these great storytelling. So how do you sort of take a minute and pick up one thing about how you can maybe approach your day a little bit differently from another small business owner, and find that moment of joy for you.
I love it. I've been a small business owner 3 times.
Oh, amazing. So
I have a lot of, I'd say I have a soft spot in my heart for people who do that. And, I hear at the Entrepreneur Studio, we're, super enthusiastic about entrepreneurs and small business. I know I will be shopping on Small Business Saturday. I will make sure that everybody knows where I shopped. Hopefully it's more than one place. But thank you, Erin, so much for coming. It was an awesome conversation to really learn more about the Shop Small movement. Yeah. And everybody should absolutely go to americanexpress.com/shopsmall.
Yes, they should. And I'll just call out before we go, as we think about customers, I think that's an important one, right? So if we talked about what small businesses should do. We also got to think about what all of us as shoppers. So all of us are shoppers, right? Whether we're a small business owner or not. So for our customers and our shoppers, mark your calendar, November 30th, right? And I think there's a few things for us to do and really think about how we can support, right? So it's one, can you find a new place to go and shop? Whether that's, we have a great Shop Small map where you can go. It's americanexpress.com/shopsmallmap. You can use that to find small businesses near you that you perhaps never tried. Look for the Shop Small logo on different businesses. So that's one thing, right? And then it's thinking about how you can really put the spotlight on the small businesses that you already know and love, right? Bring a friend, post about them on your own social, write them a rave review. Those things all really matter. And I think the last piece is like, we all have big to-do lists in the holiday season. So how do you sort of carve out and be thoughtful about where you want to make sure that a small business shows up as you work through that to-do list? And there's often some wonderful benefits. So I mentioned the wrapping, right? I think our small businesses are often places that give you it's a special experience. It's a special thing you take away, and it's often sort of leaves you feeling really wonderful. So I hope that everyone will make sure that they get out and shop small.
That was a good call out. I think rave reviews are really big. So I think we should all leave a great review for each of our small businesses. And, we do have the Entrepreneur Studio. It'd be great to get a review for the Entrepreneur Studio as well.
Hint.
But Erin, thanks so much for coming. Yeah. And I hope that it's a huge success for you this year.
Thank you. We're really excited. And thanks for having me. It really was a pleasure to be here and an honor to get to talk a little bit about the Shop Small work.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming.